welcome to another episode of Shotgun Tour Reviews. Today I'm taking a look at Borderlands Moxxi's Mysterious Memento. This is the complete miniseries. Now, I did not buy these myself. I actually received these from Sketch Knight John. You might know Sketch Knight John from our 1/6 scale Balin's Skull video. He's also been... his voice has shown up in the background of a few videos. Sometimes that gets subtitled. But Sketch Knight John has been present for nearly all of Shotgun Tour Reviews. Sketch Knight actually started in 2014, and from that, the core group, Wilson and Berg, started Shotgun Tour Reviews. But we have been meeting on an almost weekly basis now for, I'm going to say, 10, 11 years. It's crazy. But Sketch Knight John has been ever present in Shotgun from the beginning. So, that group that meets in the back of a comic shop each Wednesday. Borderlands has been a topic that has been discussed repeatedly. We have played the games, at least 3 of the 4 of us. I think even Berg has played the games. We're talking now about Borderlands 4 and trying to plan for that, but we're trying to get him to play the Viking character. Anyway, the point is, we like Borderlands. I have read one of the previous Borderlands comics. I believe it was Origins. I tried to Google it before I started shooting this video, and all I remember is the Roland cover that seems to be Origins. But there are honestly more Borderlands comics than I knew about. There was one with Tannis, and there was Fall of Firestone, which as soon as I saw the name, then I remembered it. But I was not impressed by the Borderlands comics that I had previously read. I'm still not impressed after reading this. I will get into that. It is written by Amy Chu, art by Mike Norton. I am a fan of Mike Norton's previous work. I will also point out colors by Heather, and it's great to see that she is still working. Good for her. There's an ad in one of these for one of the other. I think it's the 4th issue for one of the other Borderlands comics, and I was also unfamiliar that Tiny Tina had a comic also, colors by Heather, so good for her. So, what happens? Moxxi has an ex-boyfriend who stole something from her. There's a picture of it somewhere. It's this bird-looking thing, this guy here, and Ellie thinks it's an alien. But anyway, there's an object that people want. Amara happens to be in Moxxi's bar, and Amara gets tasked with recovering this thing. There are also these two. Varen is colored differently on interiors than on the covers, which I found odd. So here there's a bunch of blue, and it looks like he's wearing a jacket, which I don't understand, but whatever. Yeah, there's a zipper there too, which is not... I guess there is a zipper. Alright. Still no blue, though. Anyway. So, those 3 get tasked with recovering this thing, and Moxxi tells a little backstory. But basically, they need to go to this rancid city to recover a thing, and these 2 are supposed to be experts. They are not. This guy, by the way, it makes me think every time of Batman Inc. I can't remember the character's name, but every time I'm just like... what's the International Batman doing in this book? Anyway, they get tasked. They need guns, obviously. It's Borderlands, so they go to Marcus's, and this is where the trouble really begins for me. So you see here, this is panel 1. Amara says these 3 words. Everyone else starts talking. Then we get to this panel, and he says, Amara, I thought I recognized your voice. Why the hell is... I mean, she's been visible. Anyway, this is troubling. This is troubling, but it's also indicative of larger writing problems. So then we get to here where bandits are showing up. She's asking about vehicles. He says, no, there's no catch a ride nearby. Doesn't make a difference anyway. The robot guy says, we have company, it's bandits. Turn the page, and I swear I read this multiple times, each time thinking I missed something. Because Marcus says they never listen, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? And she says, nice, I'll take it. What conversations are these two having? Because neither one of these things make any sense in the context of what is happening or what has happened. Whew. Anyway, no returns. Is he continuing some prior conversation that he started with the bandits? Is that what's happening? Because I'm extremely confused. Anyway, they all get into this vehicle, except Marcus, obviously. And I believe this is the last decision that they make toward, the last action that they take towards achieving their goal. Everything else that happens in the series, especially issue 2, continuing issue 3, and then we get to issue 4, happenstance. Things happen in spite of them. Things happen because people show up to them, and a lot of coincidence happens, and things happen by chance. It's insanity. Anyway, they are driving to this other place. They get scooped up by this other vehicle. It turns out to be Ellie. I don't know why there's such a build-up and surprise. I think because the entirety of issue 2 is no forward progress towards their goal. So I feel like someone decided this was 4 issues and the writer didn't know how to fill out 4 complete issues. So they just wasted a bunch of space. Anyway, Ellie shows up, gives them slightly more information. See there? No blue. Oh, blue shoes? Anyway. Gives them slightly more information about what's happening, takes them to the place, says, I'll be in communication, except... And really, if she could communicate with them, why did she have to scoop... It makes no sense whatsoever. She could have just called them. It's so stupid. This entire... The writing in this is so stupid. Anyway, they arrive where they're supposed to be. Issue 2, the entire thing is them trying to get coffee and then get noodles, and the robot guy gets kidnapped, gets sucked up in a light beam. That is the entire issue. Light beam. Again, happenstance, but this will sadly be crucially important later. It's so stupid. She shows up at the last page, and she happens to be someone that they need to meet. So she comes to them, not they go to her. Issue 3 happens. And issue 3, they are walking down a street. Oh, this opening 2 pages. So the old woman from the last page of the previous issue then gives 3 pages of exposition for no reason whatsoever. Blows my mind that any of that would be said. Anyway, all of that happens. Again, I think just killing time. It's a nice city. Props to Mike Norton once again. Anyway, our cast of idiots are just walking down the street when... Actually, I forgot this happens. They go looking for the robot, and then he just shows up. Anyway, they're walking down the street. These people will be important later. And there's the guy that they're looking for, and the bird. Oh, man. They put no effort into literally anything. Ellie shows up. This thing shows up, and this thing is actually pretty cool. I like this. There's details about what that is and why, and that's pretty cool, but I'm not going to tell you about it, because I don't want to spoil things for a book that I'm not going to recommend you that you read. Anyway, that's your choice. I'll leave it at that. So, there's this bird that people start attacking, and the resolution to this is also chance and happenstance, and not the efforts of our core cast, that it makes absolutely no sense, and is stupid, and would anything have been different? Yeah. I thought for a second maybe it would have been one of those stories where if the main character isn't in there, everything would have played out exactly the same. I think isn't that true of Big Trouble in Little China? Anyway. Not the case, though. So, Batman gets a corporate job. He's in a sweater vest now? Oh. At the end of this. And Zane shows up for 2 panels, I think. Zane shows up. And at the end of it, it sets itself up for a sequel that I really hope doesn't happen. But it led to a conversation between my wife and I about what actually happened to Lilith at the end of Borderlands 3. I said the sentence aloud to her. I'm like, didn't she die or become the moon? And she's like, excuse me, what? And I'm like, yeah, didn't she become the moon? And then it led to some Googling, and the end result is her death is unofficial. It's not declared. Lilith is not canonically dead. So Zane and Amara are going to go looking for her. That's how the series ends. And I don't know what else to say. It's poorly written. It's well drawn, well colored, even if inconsistently. I don't know if Heather didn't do the covers. I have no idea what happened. But the robot is colored differently, and I don't understand why. But no, I don't recommend this. I don't honestly recommend any of the Borderlands comics that I have read. I am waiting for Borderlands 4. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to buy a new computer because probably my current one can't support the new whatever. I'll deal with that when the time comes, and hopefully the Sketch Night crew will be playing Borderlands 4 together. So, looking forward to it. I'm hyped for 4. I'm thankful for a revisit to the worlds of Pandora. But this is a bad series, poorly written. It shouldn't have been as long as it is. So little happens, or just completely rewritten where the characters actually perform some actions and don't just have things happen to them. Anyway, don't read it. Play some good games. Read some better comics.